Welcome to Let's Face the Facts, the rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Join us each week as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show. And now, here's your host of Let's Face the Facts, the wonderful David Almeida!
Thank you, Matthew Arter. Welcome back. It's another week, another show. Thank you for downloading and pressing play. This week we're continuing with part 2 of the Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World. If you did not listen to part 1, I highly recommend that you do before you listen to this. And if you haven't watched the show, I highly recommend that you watch the show as well, because it's really, really bizarre and fun and awful and magnificent. And I hope our affection for it comes through in our brutal dissection and criticism of the show. Now, just to pick up where we left off, remember, my co-host this particular week on TV Talkaholics is Mr. X. This is a person who has worked for the Walt Disney Company for many, many years and loves the company and had asked that his identity remain anonymous so that he could discuss it freely. And just to catch you up on the plot of the special, the Mouseketeers are at Walt Disney World, and they've had a terrible, terrible fight, and they've all been fighting, and we are now in the middle of the process of them slowly making up to one another and becoming friends again. That's really all you need to know. There's not much else here. And again, listen to part 1. What are you doing here? If you haven't heard part 1, just go back, listen to it, for crying out loud. So let's get to it, why don't we, huh? Let's face the facts with The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World, Part 2 from 1977, featuring Lisa Whelchel and Julie Piekarski. The Tomorrowland Speedway.
At the time, the Grand Prix Speedway.
Oh, is that what it was called?
It was called the Grand Prix Raceway.
Oh, okay. Most recently, it's closed now, right? It was closed and being refurbished?
No.
Why was...
I think they made the track smaller again because of Tron. It might have been closed because of Tron.
Okay.
Being built there. But
okay.
I wrote down it is the most popular, boring ride in the park.
And, I mean, Tomorrowland, when you want to go to a place of the future...
Yeah.
You get to experience that magical thing that's coming down the pike someday. Cars.
Yeah, that only go 4 miles per hour. And a kid is driving it. They can't drive it. And they're not driving it.
Yeah, it's on a track. There's no crashing.
Why those... And I get what... Because what it used to be then was they would line up 4 of you. And you would be like, 1, 2, 3.
It was a race, yeah.
Yeah, the 4 of you were racing. But now it's just for momentum, for efficiency's sake.
Yeah.
It's like, you here, you here. You here, go. You here, go. You here, go. And it's like, ugh. It's so I especially loved when they were done riding it that they all just stand around in the racetrack.
In the track, yeah.
For about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's no other people waiting to get on the ride or anything.
Yeah. It's always got an hour-long wait, for God's sake.
Yeah. What ticket was that, a B or a C ticket?
That might have been an E-ticket, too. Honestly.
Really?
Back in 77.
Holy shit. That surprises me. To me, it's an odd anomaly because, like I said, it's like the Tomorrowland, it's race cars. How is that Tomorrowland? If it was, if the facade of the vehicles was to look like floating spaceships, like on the Jetsons or something, maybe, I can't believe they never rethemed it to cars. Once Lightning McQueen and Mater hit, why didn't they do that? Because that's technically the future. After our dystopian destruction of the human race, the machines are going to come alive, and that's where Lightning McQueen and company fall in.
I think because at the time it was sponsored by Goodyear, and it was at that time it was the Tomorrowland Indy Speedway. So I think that there was a sponsorship through Goodyear and the Indiana 500.
Yeah. It takes up a lot of real estate in Tomorrowland.
It's gotten smaller over the years.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Back then it was huge, but they made it smaller to build Space Mountain.
Mhm.
Then they made it smaller to build Mickey's Birthday Land in '88.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then they moved the Circus World there. They've got the Dumbo the Flying Elephant is there now.
Yes.
2 of them. So it's smaller because of that too.
Uh-huh.
So it's gotten smaller over the years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the purpose of this scene is that the boys are racing with Mr. Brown, and what we basically learn, Mrs. Joanne Worley magically appears there. She gets around fast. At the end of it, she's like, "You let them win, didn't you?" And it's like, yeah, they were so excited that they won and beat him. They're all cheering and happy. And just like Lisa and Allison, they are now friends. Healing continues.
Yes.
And yeah. Then from there, we go outside the pool at the Contemporary again. And this is where the young girl, the African-American girl, her name is Shantae, is sitting out by the pool. And someone walks up with a phone, don't they?
I think she's already just on it.
That's right.
She's on like a corded landline phone. Sitting
sure,
outside.
That happens. That happens at the Walt Disney World Resort all the time.
Yeah.
A corded phone is brought to you at the pool.
I'm not saying this right now because of her, because I could say it much later as well, or much earlier. I'm just going to say it now. I would like to know how awful the actors were that didn't get hired.
Yes. No, you're not saying that as a reflection of this girl, Shantae.
No.
This is a reflection of all of them.
With the exception of Lisa Whelchel.
Mm-hmm. Abso-goddamn-lutely.
But anyway.
True.
So it's like she didn't know where to look. Bless her heart. Anyway, not her specifically. Not her specifically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, she's on the phone.
And she's on the phone with little one Mindy, the little girl in a towel who was inappropriately in a room all alone with an adult male earlier. So she is on the phone in bed in her room claiming to be sick.
Yeah.
And then Kelly, clumsy girl with tennis racket, is practicing tennis, and they try to make a funny bit out of the tennis ball machine feeding her the balls too quickly. Giggity. I love you so goddamn much.
She does end up getting hit in the face a little bit with some balls.
Yeah, that does happen, yes. And then Julie Piekarski, Facts of Life Julie. All of them come into the room. The idea is that little Mindy's illness brings them together, and they start to fight. What are you doing here? Well, she's my friend too. Wow, aren't we being stupid? Yeah. Let's all do it. Now, I do have to point out, talking about acting, talking about when the girls are in the room, when Shantae comes into the room, the door is open, okay? She knocks and walks in, and looking her in the eye, little Mindy says, "Come in."
Now, granted, Mindy is, from what I've gathered so far, the comic relief.
Is she?
Because she gets in there. I'm sick. Yeah, cookies would be great. Yeah, ice cream would be great. Like, I feel like she's the one that is meant to have been.
Well,
she was the who's that? She was the Olsen twins of this show.
As
you know
the
what
baby.
I mean?
I'll give you that. Okay,
like,
yeah.
The punchlines went to her.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, none of the punchlines were any good, so she couldn't do anything with them. But yeah. But anyhow, they're like, you know what? We should get back with the other kids. We've been acting like fools. And Kelly's like, yep, let's go. And they're like, what? You were faking. And in my notes, in all caps, who is looking after these kids?
This is where I came up with the
Jesus.
storyline that they should have used, where there was a male and female chaperone. The male has an interest in the female chaperone, and Joanne Worley is ruining it by showing up and everything. Like, she's just a wacky reporter that keeps, every time they get close to kissing, Joanne Worley shows up in between them.
Have her be in the Skyway bucket when they don't even know she's there, to ever just pop up between them. So how long have the kids been rehearsing for the big concert?
Right. They're having a romantic ride or sit on the park, and Joanne Worley comes running through the rose garden. I don't know. But it's just,
I agree.
I wondered who was watching these kids as well.
Yikes, yeah. So then we go to posing for a picture in the stocks. That's the wooden things you put your head and your hands through, which are just outside, I believe, Frontierland?
They're in between Frontierland and Liberty Square.
That's right. So to the left is where you go to Pecos Bill to get a bite to eat. To the right is Haunted Mansion and the Harbor House. Right. Great fish and chips.
Well, they decide that they're all friends now, but the two boys are out in the world, and they have no idea that we've all made up. So they're still out there angry with each other. Let's fix it. Let's split up. And yet they all go the same direction.
Yeah. It's not cumbersome enough to have 12 kids.
Right.
To have to lug that many fucking kids around in a theme park, let alone try to figure out how to give them all something to do in a 1-hour TV special.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got 10 of them together all in one place and getting along. And they keep saying, where are Pop and Todd? Pop and Todd. The one named Billy, his nickname is Pop, P-O-P.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So it's Pop and Todd who are missing. And so let's split up and look for them. And where are they?
Well, we cut to Pop excusing himself through a queue area for no reason but to get to the front of the line.
Yeah, that would not wash in modern times.
Like, he's literally walking past me going, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, until he gets up to this friend that he's angry with and goes, oh, you. Well, you're the one that just cut the line to get to me.
Exactly. So bizarre. It's like if he was cutting the line to get to him and say, hey, you know,
right.
Okay, maybe I might still be mad, but you want to ride in the same car?
Yes.
And at no point do they say, like you said before, at no point do they say, we are riding Space Mountain. Nowhere does it ever say that explicitly.
And Space Mountain, like River Country, was the new ride.
Yeah, it had just opened the year before.
75.
2 years before. Okay.
It was, but like, so like the view of Space Mountain and everything was cool, but the original ride vehicle where you sat with somebody between your legs, David!
I remember. Ew, David! I remember I did it that following February. My sister and I did it. I rode that Space Mountain. I remember it.
So my question is, if you were a party of 3, did they send 2 in one and 1 in the other? Or were they like, party of 1, let's put a stranger between your legs?
Yeah, let's... I don't know, but you're right. I did think that. It's like, wow, that is a very close quarters ride vehicle.
And people had no problem bumping into each other in their Speedos at River Country. So maybe they were like, yeah, I'll sit between this stranger's legs.
Yeah, wow. I mean, they were smaller and afforded more room back in the 70s.
That is true.
Our national epidemic of obesity hadn't quite peaked yet. So we actually go through Space Mountain. Now it is a true travelogue commercial for the ride.
And it's not even video of the Mouseketeers riding Space Mountain.
It's just a video of the ride, of a point of view of the ride.
Why would you film your actors riding the ride when we could just have these random assholes? Have you ever ridden Space Mountain with the lights on?
I have not.
Frightening. It is the most terrifying thing I've ever been on.
I imagine with the tracks visible. I can't imagine.
You're like, that track is awfully small and it's awfully close to my head as we make this drop.
Yikes. I'm not a big coaster person anyway, so that's not really my thing.
Yeah.
So thankfully, when the boys come out of Space Mountain, the others are there and they are all reunited. So it's like, yay, we're all back together again. And let's get ready because tomorrow we're going to be camping out at Fort Wilderness. But before they do, Joanne Worley wants to take a romantic ride on, as I said before, the Sky Ride, which is actually called the Skyway, which used to run between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. No longer there. It closed in 1999.
Yes.
And it shows them riding the Skyway, and he's doing that typical old school trope thing of a woman is coming onto him and he's being resistant.
Yeah. And also, it seems like he's afraid of heights.
That's true. He's afraid of heights, but her being there and basically presenting to him, that isn't enough to distract him or make him any less nervous about being up there. I got to admit, that was a little scary. I remember doing that as a kid.
I hated that ride.
It's because it's open. You see, it's like you're in a bucket with an umbrella over it. It's scary because you feel exposed.
But it was, it became like an issue with like people pouring their soda, like society changed. Like people would pour their soda on people. People would spit on people.
Oh,
or
God damn it.
Or worse, your baby has to go to the bathroom, so you hang him outside. Isn't it hilarious? My kid's peeing over the edge of this. But
hope I don't drop my kid.
Yeah. But so a lot of things went into the reason that thing closed.
Yikes. And then with that, we go to commercial break number 3.
Oh my God, my favorite commercial of the night.
The Litton microwave commercial. We're changing the way America cooks. And the reason for that is before you could only put one thing into a microwave. But now we put a shelf in it, a metal shelf.
In this microwave, you can cook asparagus, potatoes, and a side of beef all at the same time. Can you imagine what that tasted like when it came out?
And microwaves are notoriously uneven in the way they cook. And in those days, they were even worse. And they didn't have the rotating plate. The big magic thing that this microwave had was a shelf.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I was watching it with Austin, and Austin said to me, how can they have a metal shelf in a microwave? What is happening? And it is absolutely possible because the microwaves run from the back wall towards the door. They run straight. The microwaves are straight. They don't bend or turn. So as long as it's out of the path, it won't be a problem. Now, you don't want to crumple up a piece of foil and throw it in there. That would be a no. But
you can put a side of beef in there and expect it to cook the same amount of time that you're going to cook your asparagus. That thing had to be like a tire when it came out of there. Have you ever put meat in a microwave?
No.
It's like bubble gum, for God's sake. Like literally like hacking into a tire. Meanwhile, your asparagus is asparagus mush. And
your potatoes, it's like
probably still frozen in the middle. Like a hot pocket. Every bite is a different temperature.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. So the next commercial is a Coca-Cola commercial. Mm-hmm. And it's the campaign at the time was Coke Adds Life.
I do not remember that campaign at all.
I remember it vividly. Again, I was 9. Okay. So it was Coke Adds Life. Everybody wants a little life. Coca-Cola. In this one, it's almost like a Mentos ad, as in it just doesn't make sense. It starts with a shot of a newspaper ad saying tugboat for rent. And you see a couple of girls talking to the man who is obviously the skipper / owner of this tugboat. They both have glass bottles of Coke. Remember, glass bottles? Mm-hmm. And they basically, you can see they're making a deal. It's like, okay, good, we're going to do this thing that we just saw in the ad in the paper. And then their friends show up with buckets of paint.
Yeah.
And they proceed to paint the entire tugboat like a psychedelic acid trip thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it cuts back to the skipper guy, and he's just like, oh, those carefree, whimsical young people.
Yeah, those kids on coke. Yeah. They even go so far as to paint the girl's name on the back of the boat.
They paint
Sue-Ann.
The tires on the side that are, supposed to be the cushion for when it runs into the dock. They paint the tire. It's a black rubber tire. They paint it. And the idea is, it's just, like I said, it felt like a Mentos ad with a ridiculous thing happening and the bystanders just going, oh, isn't that interesting? But yes. And there was only 2 commercials. That was it. Those 2. And then from that, we go back to the show. We arrive at Fort Wilderness Campground. Yes. And we do get a sign that tells us that is exactly where we are. Mm-hmm. So that's good. So while the kids are setting up their tents, what is the song they sing?
Well, again, this is a thing that I always realize as they show Fort Wilderness. People go to Walt Disney World with a tent in the back of their car. Pitch a tent. Oftentimes, you remember tents in the 70s made of screen.
Yeah,
like it's
mesh.
a see-through. Yeah. Like you're not having any privacy.
No.
You're just spending all day in a theme park and then going to lay in a sleeping bag in a tent. Can you imagine?
No. And in the wintertime, it gets cold here. Our temperature a few nights a year will get below freezing, but there are many nights in the wintertime that are in the 40s and the 50s. You don't fucking want to be staying outside.
Or sleeping when it's 105 and humid.
Yeah, in the summer, yes.
After you've been in a theme park all day, the only thing I want after I've been in a theme park all day is a shower, and I don't mean a communal one.
Yeah.
I just cannot imagine not going down to a hotel room after your day in the park. I just cannot fathom that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
I'm with you.
Mr. X's opinion.
I believe Oprah Winfrey's best friend Gayle King said it best. I'm a room service kind of girl. Yes, I agree. So while the kids are setting up their tents, what are they singing?
Which again, they're presenting this to the Almeida family watching in Massachusetts that when you check into Fort Wilderness, you are on your own. Like you got to find a camping spot and you're like, well, this looks like a good spot to camp.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got to find whatever driftwood you can find for something to sit on and build your own chimney. And it's like,
pick the spot where you're going to go take a shit.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's like they're making it almost like they're borderline pioneering it out there. When, let's make it clear, Fort Wilderness has water hookups. They've got a grill sitting there. Anyway, but that just drove me crazy. And again, a missed opportunity for a production number while they're setting up the set, while they're setting up their tents. They're doing Whistle While You Work, but it's a voiceover and a missed opportunity. That's when you have them beating in the stakes to the rhythm of the music and singing to each other. Whistle while you work. And then they're putting the tent. It just drove me nuts that they were just like raking the sand.
Yeah. And at one point it cuts to the boys on the, it cuts to a petting zoo, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a petting zoo or was there ever a petting zoo at Fort Wilderness?
There is.
Is there still?
I don't know that it's still there, but
I had
it's been
no
there.
idea.
And it was there a year ago, at least. It might have closed. Because Tri-Circle D Ranch is up there. That's where they keep the horses from the Magic Kingdom and the little white horses that pull Cinderella's chair. They all live up there. And you can go pet them and see them.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. X, for all of this insider information.
You're welcome.
But Yeah. So, but it's like some of the cutaways just to have something to show on the screen to fill the space is them at the petting zoo, petting animals. It's like, that's not whistling while you work. That's whistling while you're doing fucking nothing.
Mhm.
You're not helping. And there are 12 of you. You could get this
Again.
done in 5 minutes.
We're going to do this song, but we need to fill time in it. Fill it with a production number.
Yeah.
They're the Mouseketeers. That's what they're famous for, is production numbers.
Is singing and dancing. Exactly.
So,
Oy. But in the course of setting up the tents, they ask little Nita, who doesn't have anything to do, to tie off the tents. So she goes through some trees, comes out the other side of trees, and ties both of the tents off to the fender of a fucking RV.
Yeah.
Parked on the other side.
She is told to attach them to something sturdy, so she walks by all these huge trees through a forest.
Yeah.
And decides, this is the place I'm going to do it.
On a moving vehicle's fender. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, right? Or is it the bumper? What am I talking about? The fender. You're right. It's the bumper.
It's the bumper.
I'm a gay.
But yeah, little Nita does that. Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, Mr. Harrison shows up. This is the boss of Mr. Brown that we heard wah, wah, wah yelling on the phone earlier.
Yeah.
He shows up at night as they're getting ready for bed, sitting by a campfire in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah, boss hog.
Like you said, a boss hog 3-piece suit.
Yeah, all white.
Yeah. And his big thing is, make sure they're at Cinderella's castle tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, do they want to rehearse too? Or is there a rehearsal hall reserved for them to plan? Or is there a rehearsal for them to know what is on the stage and spacing? And never mind.
No, and we'll find out that no. To answer all of your questions later on, you will discover that nope, there was no rehearsal.
Yep. But then we dissolve to kind of a lovely little thing where our close personal friend Lisa Welchel shows yet another dimension of her immense talent.
Yeah.
She plays the guitar, and I think she's really playing or, properly fingering the chords as though she is playing, even though it's a pre-recorded soundtrack. And she sings a song called Turn Over a New Leaf. Is that from something?
No.
That's an original song written for this.
I believe, yeah. Oof.
I didn't know. I didn't know if it was from, Mr. Boogedy's.
You didn't know if it was like Candle Shoe.
Candle. It's like. But Lisa plays the guitar and sings.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Another huge difference between then and now. Zero filtering on anybody's voices.
Oh, no. One might argue she could have used some auto-tune, but I would venture to guess she probably could have used a second take.
Yeah.
Because I don't imagine she would have gotten more than one.
No.
And but no, it's fine. It's lovely. Again, she's 13. She's sitting there playing guitar, and she's as good an actress as she's showing herself to be. So then it's time to go to bed. Off go the kids. They go into the tents, and then we hear the engine start, presumably to the RV on the other side of the trees. It drives away. It pulls the tents with it, and the kids proceed to lose their fucking shit.
Yeah.
When Nita admits that she tied them off to this RV.
There was no bottom to the tents either. They were just going to sleep on the ground.
I mean.
And why did that rope, every other rope on the tent was attached to a stake that they put in the ground? Why did that one rope have to go be attached? Maybe I don't know anything about
because it was hanging on like a U-shaped pipe. It was like there was already a built-in structure that was the main support. It was like this U-shaped structure was the center of the A, the top point of the letter A, and the stakes were the things that pulled the sides outward to create the horizontal space. But anyway, that's just par for the course for this. But the kids proceed to yell at Nita And they call her idiot, stupid. And Mr. Brown is standing right there.
Yeah.
And his solution is, oh, well, kids, we'll just find another place over there to go. Not stop yelling at her. It was an honest mistake. Jesus Christ.
Or, as the adult, I told her to attach them to something. This is, be mad at me, you know?
Yeah, it was clearly I didn't give her clear enough instructions. It's
fine.
But
they do make her cry, little Nita cry.
The last word as they all walk away is Shantae looks at her and says, "You ruined our camping trip." And the final image before we go to commercial is what feels like 5 solid minutes. Explain it.
Of little Nita, quote unquote, crying. Like just, ugly. I don't want to say ugly crying because I don't want to call a little kid ugly, but
no. You're referring to the crying as the ugly cry. Yeah. She is just full on sobbing, face contorted, tears running down her cheeks.
Were there tears running down her cheeks?
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw wetness around her eyes, but I didn't see any tears.
Oh, okay. I might have been making a little bit of a logistical leap there. That might have been giving them too much credit.
Again, I would like to see the actors that did not get hired. And I may need to repeat that again later.
Yeah, exactly. These were the ones. And here's the deal. Sometimes you don't get quite the acting chops that you wish you had when you've got really strong singer-dancers. So when we finally get to the finale where we see them pulling out all the stops and in the there is a dance number coming up before then too. And that's when you're like, oh, well, okay, that's not why.
Yeah. To get on this show.
And I think we will let's be nice people for a moment. Let's step out of character here, Mr. X. Mm-hmm. And let's say the other thing is in 1977 we didn't have the toddlers and tiaras culture that we have now, where kids are trained to be triple threat performers from the time they're 4 years old. Like, I believe the level of talent of kids, you find a lot more of it out there now because there are so many parents obsessed with making their kids stars and getting into show business. I don't think that there was as much of a plethora of triple threats around at the time. Would you agree?
I don't know that I'd agree, but I hear you and your feelings are valid.
So on this image, this close-up image of a sobbing child, mm-hmm. we go to commercial break number 4. Mm-hmm. And do you remember what the commercials were?
I've got cake from scratch. No, Mom, it's from a box. No, this is cake from scratch. No, Mom, it's from a box. Cake from scratch. Shut up, old woman. Get out of my kitchen. How many times do I have to tell you this fucking cake came out of a box?
I'm a lazy bitch and I can't cook. Accept me as I am, Mom.
And why would I lie? Yeah. Like, she must tell her 15 times in this 30-second commercial that she got it out of a box, and Mom's like, nope, it's too good for a box.
Exactly. You would lie the other way. It's like, this cake's interesting. Yeah, I made it from scratch. Yeah. And the cake is Pillsbury Plus. The plus is there's pudding in the mix.
Yes.
And I do love the slogan at the end of the commercial, Scratch has met its match. Mm-hmm. That's a great slogan. I wish they still used it today. Do you remember what the next one?
Shell's Foul Weather Driving Book.
Yes. The Shell Answer Man from Shell, the oil company and the gas station.
And I want you to try to say that 5 times fast. Shell's Foul Weather Driving Book.
Shell's Foul Weather Driving Book. Shell's Foul Weather Driving Book.
That's a mouthful.
And it's literally like, it's like Dwight Schrute saying to you, if you're in a snowstorm and your car stops, don't leave the engine on for more than 10 minutes or you'll asphyxiate yourself. Be sure to keep warm. Stretch your legs out. It's like, it's all of these. I mean, they're helpful hints. I have to admit, this stuff there was like, oh, that's good to know if I ever drive in snow again, which I won't.
But he is very no nonsense about giving you this information. Crack your window. Yeah. Oh. Okay.
But the whole thing is, come to Shell for answers is the slogan. And the idea is it's, we're more than a gas station. We care about you.
And yet he does leave the car there without actually helping the person that is inside.
To drive through the paper thing that was always And then the last one is a coming attraction for a new Disney animal film that's going to be coming up on a future episode of The Wonderful World of Disney. And what's the title of this upcoming event?
Run, Cougar, Run. And I almost wanted to look it up and see if I could find it because it starts off, it shows a picture of a little cougar kitty cat. And it says, she's the last of her kind. Bang! You hear a gunshot. And it's like, well, gee, so much, wait, what? Are we shooting her? You just said she's going extinct. Jesus.
The shortest movie ever.
Oh, God. Do we learn nothing from Bambi?
But yeah,
it was
film and animal
action nature, like a spin-off, like a
Disney Natures. That's kind of a division of the company these days, isn't it? Disney Nature. Yeah. So yeah, it's the sort of predecessor to all that. But yeah, it's a film stock of animals in the wild, and they create a narrative, and they use some trained animals also to do it. But when the title, Run, Cougar, Run, all I can think of is, there's the last man under 25 in your neighborhood whose girlfriend just broke up with him.
He wants to mow your lawn.
Oh, starring Jesse Metcalf. So, yes.
This is why the company was in the dumper. Because of things like Run, Cougar, Run.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. It was... Okay. Jesus. But we come back from commercial. We are back at the Contemporary. I think we're a third of the way through of this now.
Oh my God.
No, I'm fucking kidding.
We're almost to the end.
We're getting there, yeah. So we're back at the Contemporary. Nita is missing. All 11 kids are sitting around on one couch and one armchair. Mm-hmm. And this is where the security guard is there. Yeah. And so I didn't write down the line. What did the security guard say?
I'm going to say it. It's going to sound, I'm going to make it sound like you have actually, I'm going to make this sound like you have actually pulled audio from the show.
It's going to be like we're there.
Mm-hmm. We got a team of rangers searching the wilderness area right now. It's 7,500 acres of swamp out there.
And then he walks out of frame.
Then he walks away.
Polish off the Emmy Awards, ladies and gentlemen.
And what I loved was, because clearly he was a security guard, so he's probably a grandpa. And
God, yeah.
He was probably the star of security back. Like, they probably, they probably watched it at his house. His neighbors came over.
Yeah.
I saw you on Wonderful World of Disney. That's pretty
Herbert's
cool.
going to be on the television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of,
so, I mean, bless. At least it was the one line and not two.
Yeah.
So the kids are like, we all need to go look for her. And he's like, no, you've got a show to do. Go to your rooms and get some rest. Oh, are you a tour manager now? Now do you give a shit about the performance? Which we find out is literally that night. Mm-hmm. But Lisa rallies the troops, and I fucking believe her. When she says, Mr. Brown, we're not going to sit around and do nothing. We are going to find her. Mm-hmm. And she's awesome. Lisa Whelchel is such a standout. God bless her. So then, where is Nita? We don't know where Nita is. Where does it show Nita to be, Matthew?
For some reason, alone in the Magic Kingdom.
walking around Fantasyland, I believe. Just outside of
Completely
It's a
alone.
Small World, correct?
Yes. No, she is she's right behind the castle. She's by Cinderella's fountain,
Oh, okay. By
which is
Cinderella's Fountain.
outside what used to be Tinkerbell's treasures.
Okay.
So
Well,
she's literally right behind the castle when she decides this is as good a place as any to take a nap.
yeah. Yeah. Now, she's alone in an empty theme park. There are literally no other people there.
Mm-mm.
So you're like, did she sneak in after hours? Was there a bomb threat? What is going on?
She's carrying her poo around with her. Her poo bear.
I see what you did. But yes, so she has her Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal. And so, yeah, she sits down and falls asleep. All that crying is exhausting.
Yeah.
I know. And then we go into a dream sequence where Julie Piekarski reads her from the Winnie the Pooh book, but it's a song. And what is the song called?
The song is called the Pooh Polka. David.
There was a party weekend on Fire Island back in the 90s, I think was called the Pooh Polka.
Yeah, it later got moved to just a one day. It became Splatter Saturday. But what I wrote down was she decides to take a nap and she's going to dream about the good old days when Sue Ann from Facts of Life would slip her some ecstasy and read her favorite book to her. Because this scene, her eyes, she looks like she is tripping balls. Her eyes are so big. And she is so happy to be getting read to. She's pointing to stuff in the book and nodding.
Yeah. She's overplaying the physicality of it because it's silent. She's kind of in a silent movie suddenly. But then Pooh shows up, and it's the character of Winnie the Pooh that has the honey on his head, the pot of honey on his head. Mm-hmm. And then all the other kids show up in lederhosen and German beer garden skirts, and they dance and sing a choreographed production number called the Pooh Polka, and they do polka. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, they're not bad. It looks like this, maybe some thought went into this.
It looks like they ran through it once. Like some of the boys are clearly more fabulous than others. I noticed that as far as their dancing skills. Also, by the way, this is the Winnie the Pooh that has no use of his hands.
Oh, that's right. But he does have the working snout. His mouth does open and close, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to point out another one of those inappropriate for the time for now. The girls are in like a forest green print fabric on their German beer garden dresses. The boys are in browns and earth tones. One of the boys is in like short shorts that are clearly cutting into his balls. And another one has got shorts down below his knee. So the design of these is, non-uniform. The girls' dresses are uniform. And at one point in the choreography, 3 or 4 of them are in the front row spinning around. And underneath all of these forest greens and earth tones, they have bright blood red leotards on that we can clearly see because they're in skirts spinning around and the skirts come up.
And the camera angle is from the ground up. Like it's looking up at them. The camera angle is indeed looking up at them.
And it's just one of those things of like, number one, ew, these girls are like Lisa Welch was one of the older kids there. She's 13. Yeah. And of all of them, it's like, why wouldn't you have given them some type of bloomers or something that was less revealing? And at the very least, why not make them forest green to match the dresses so you get a sense of it being with the costume? What the shit?
Where was Diana Eden?
I know, Diana. So our fantasy dream sequence production number ends. And in real life, Winnie the Pooh comes up and awakens her. She awakens to Winnie the Pooh being there.
Yeah.
And then she looks over and sees the other kids looking for her. So what does she do? She runs the other way.
She bolts.
And then when the kids come over looking for her, Pooh deliberately sends them in another direction. Pooh is covering for his girl.
After about 20 seconds of awkward, silent interaction between the kids and Pooh.
Oh.
Like, they don't even say, like, hey, have you seen Nina? Hey, Pooh, how are you? It's just them
It's
weirdly. But then my favorite scene happens in one of the whole things.
This chase
becomes a Charlie's Angels chase scene. Complete with James Bond music. And
it's
like...
my God. Yes, she runs off, and suddenly we get this. It is so amazing. It is 70s-tastic. It is the soundtrack to my childhood.
She gets on a boat, like one of those little personal speedboats, and takes off.
Yeah, but before that, she takes the Skyway, because, when you want to get away, she takes the Skyway. And then we see a couple of the girls on the Main Street trolley, another thing we hadn't seen before. And then we see them looking around. They don't find it. But and before the boat, also, Mr. Harrison is talking to Mr. Brown, and he is mad. And he says, they're in the hotel room. He says, if you don't have those kids on stage in 10 minutes, you can turn in your clipboard.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm in the contemporary years. I don't know if I can get to the lobby in 10 minutes.
You cannot.
Okay, I'm not crazy then.
No.
What the fuck?
No.
So, and they're like all out and dispersed. And that's the weird thing is like, okay, let's have a little lesson about being a professional entertainer. A professional shows up on time. There is a sense of, girl, if you are mad at your friends or if they treated you like dog shit, no matter how justified you are, if that's an 8 p.m. performance on the Castle main stage, bitch, you will be there at your 7 p.m. call.
Yep.
Just saying.
Especially since you are a Mouseketeer at Walt Disney World. Anyway.
Then this is where the motorboat comes. I'm sorry, I'm being so fucking microscopic. Then she gets in the motorboat and runs up. Now, where the fuck? Help me track where she is and where she goes.
All right.
Where does the motorboat start at the Contemporary and go to River Country?
It either starts. I feel like it started at. I feel like from the background she started at the Polynesian.
Oh,
just because they definitely show her taking off like a bat out of hell.
Yeah, and you can still rent. Little individual speedboats at the Polynesian Resort to this day.
They're called the Sun Racers.
Yes,
but she boats herself over to Discovery Island, where
where it is?
Where she just beaches the boat, there's no dock or anything.
No.
And for some reason, Discovery Island is abandoned. That's where she picks up the parrots and everything.
Yeah, she just interacts with some birds. Like, hey, how you doing? That's cool. Running from my friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Because while she's on the run, she still has time to enjoy the wildlife at Discovery Island.
As shouldn't everybody.
Yeah.
Enjoying the Walt Disney World Resort.
Again, go look for videos of abandoned Discovery Island.
Those birds are still there.
That closed.
Yes. So, but my thing is, and then she gets back in the boat and then runs back off into the water. And again, I'm like, where is she going?
And then
why
for some reason she's back at the Disney Village, because that's when they show the paddle boat again. Or they show something that because I wrote, for some reason, shot of the steamboat from Disney Village.
Yeah, you're right. It was there. That was very weird. And so my thing is like, they were looking. It wasn't like, oh, I see those guys and I don't want to be near them. I don't like them. They were mean to me. But when she looked over back with Winnie the Pooh, they were going, Nita, Nita. They were literally looking for her.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just going to run randomly. Yeah. But it's like, where are you going? And what did you think? Like, you're going to have to fly home with them, you know. You can't run forever, Nita. You're going to have to stop running someday.
I'm like, girl, bye. I got a show to do, Nita.
Yeah, I'm at my call for the show I never rehearsed for, to give a grand performance on the castle stage to some catatonic children, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I'm glad you said that about the riverboat was there, and it was like, that doesn't really track, does it? Because that's not in the same.
No.
I'm glad that I'm not crazy. So then somehow she ends up at a sign somewhere where it's the picture of the cast, and it says, Mouseketeers performing 8 p.m. on the castle stage. And she's staring, and you can see in her reflection in the glass, she's still crying. The running didn't make her feel better.
Mm-mm. And I would like to know where that sign was, too, because in the reflection, you can see she's on Main Street.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I gathered it was at the Magic Kingdom, too. So somehow she took her speedboat and sped up to the Magic Kingdom.
I don't know.
Just got out and walked in. So Joanne Worley finds her. And then she says to her, they were trying to tell you they're sorry. It's just about time for the show at the castle. And they won't do it without you. Okay, cool. Bye.
Yeah, she says they think I'm stupid and dumb. And Joanne Worley does not tell her she's wrong. She just says, well, people say things when they're mad.
They said I was stupid and dumb. Oh, I'm sure they're very sorry that they said that to you.
Yeah. Oh, they still think that. Don't worry.
Oh, not that. That's not what they're sorry. They're sorry they can't find you. TikTok, bitch. Yeah.
All saved with the 2-second talk with Joanne Worley. And now it's showtime.
Yeah.
On the Castle Forecourt stage for kids that have probably been, I don't know, given Benadryl.
Yeah.
Performed by kids on Benadryl.
Yes. It's showtime. And literally, that's the name of the song that we get, that they sing all peppy and choreography. Can you describe? Is
that a strong word? Choreography is a strong word.
Moving in a direction?
There are clips of them bumping into each other as they're moving.
It's true.
Like, and I get, like, maybe you only had one shot to do it because you're on the Castle Forecourt stage. I get it. Mm-hmm. But it's clearly at night. Mm. And so I'm sure they filmed this at 2 a.m. with I hope, or maybe not. Maybe they filmed it at 8 p.m. right live
maybe,
if they did it.
Who were the people watching? Could that just been people watching a fireworks display or something, or another castle show at night?
Now I kind of want to go back and see if they ever showed the audience at the same time that they show the Mouseketeers performing.
I feel like they do. I feel like we see the back of an audience. I think.
All right.
I did wonder that myself. I was like, did they even shoot this with, because it's all pre-recorded. They're not singing live. It's absolutely like everything else pre-recorded. Now the outfits. How do we describe these outfits?
Well, Nina's not wearing one.
No, that's totally okay.
I mean, she has clothes on, dear listeners, but
not that would have surprised us either.
No, at this point.
But they are all in high-waisted fuchsia pants.
Oh, God.
Rainbow suspenders and multicolored panel shirts that vary from kid to kid. So the colors are not the same. They're all over the place. And the front of them, they've got the big wide collars, the big long collars with a zipper down the front. They're not a button-up shirt. They're a zip-up shirt. And, oh, my God.
They're 77-tastic. The costumes. I wasn't mad at the costumes. I mean, they're ridiculous, but it's 1979.
Yeah, and they're kids, and it's Disney. It's supposed to be bright, blip blip for younger audience members. But we do get cutaways of the audience, and some of the kids are just like, There's one child with glasses on where
bless his heart.
I thought, if I didn't know Matthew was significantly too young to have been there.
How dare you? But they also do a good job about diversifying the audience watching too.
Mm-hmm. True, yes.
They show Asian kids, they show some black kids, they show white kids.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Then they move on to the final song, which is called, aptly, Friends, but not Bette Midler's Friends. No. A shitty, awful song called Friends. And one of the things in the choreography is we see they kind of break off. Again, there are 12 of them.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. And there are cubes on stage too, aren't there? Like, are they dancing around some cubes and giving levels and shit?
Yeah.
Well, one of the I'm putting air quotes, choreographed moments is there are two groups, 5 and 5, and the babies are in the front. So we have Mindy on one side and Nita on the other. And so the last images are of them doing kind of a Brady Bunch swaying back and forth. And it comes in close on Nita's face and them all putting their hands on her shoulder. And she's clearly accepted, happy, and no longer traumatized from her entire work family turning on her.
And yet at the same time, the only thing I believed through this whole show was that she was actually missing until 7:59, because obviously they didn't have time to fucking run a brush through her hair. Her hair's a mess. She looks like she just walked on stage from spending a day in a theme park.
Yeah, I mean, the theme park.
And she doesn't know where to look. She's awkwardly looking around. And I go back to the commentary from the Goonies on the DVD. The actors all said their big direction was big eyes. Oh. So now when you watch Goonies, every scene, they're all like awkwardly big eyes. Yeah. And it's the same thing with this. Like, they're these big eyes that it's like, everything is unnatural about what's happening on that stage. There's nothing natural about it. Least of all, Nita.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Her heart.
Bless her heart. Bless all of their hearts. But thank God, before we roll the credits, Matthew, we have one more commercial break. One more commercial break. We have the Reach toothbrush.
Yes.
That was literally the very first time they said, why are all toothbrushes straight and why are all the bristles at the same level? Why don't we kind of try to innovate this that it might clean our teeth better? And so there's that. I remember that commercial vividly. Then, of course, we have the new V8 diesel pickup from Chevrolet.
Yeah.
It's a guy at a gas station going to the diesel pump, and they're like,
somebody comes out and says, that's the diesel pump. And the guy gets out of his truck and says, I know, this is a diesel truck, and I have a very small penis. But it did make me remember when you had to look if you're putting leaded or regular or unleaded.
Yeah, unleaded
gas into your car.
Yeah, regular unleaded versus leaded. Yeah, regular. Yeah, that's a thing. When we were kids, at least when I was a kid, yeah. And then the last commercial before they roll credits is for a future installment of The Wonderful World of Disney, the incomparable cinematic masterpiece, The Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin.
Which is, when I saw, I thought, well, I should bring up a lawsuit because I used to dance under that name.
But tell us who is in the movie.
I need to look it up and see if Roddy McDowell is indeed Bullwhip Griffin.
Uh-huh.
Because that alone might make me want to watch it. Watching that old queen run around in a cowboy movie with Suzanne Plachette the wonderful.
The wonderful.
And some guy that I recognized from Disney stuff that looks like an audio animatronic from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, he does. He was the one having the fight with Roddy at the end. And Carl Malden is also in it.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, Roddy McDowall does play Eric Bullwhip Griffin. So Roddy McDowall is the lead of this film. And ladies and gentlemen, it is on Disney Plus. It is there for the taking. I cannot fucking wait to watch it because it's going to be awful.
Is Run Cougar Run available?
It is not. I did check.
Poop.
And Bullwhip Griffin, by the way, from 1967. So this is pre-Planet of the Apes, Roddy McDowall. This is when he's just...
he's young and handsome.
That kid from Lassie grew up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is when he was dating Tab Hunter.
But they were sending him out with Mamie Van Doren because that looked natural.
Yep. and Elizabeth Taylor.
That's right. Well, they were friends. She was his hag. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
She was his flame dame her entire life.
Oh my God,
wow.
David, 2.5 hours.
I think we did it again. Another classic episode
Jesus
of
Christ.
TV Talkaholics. Mr. X, if you would please tell Matthew that I cannot wait for him to return to the show next month. And I really do appreciate your input, and thank you for letting me have you on as our very, very special guest. We thank all of you for being supporters of the show. I so greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned as always every month, and we will be back for September with We Don't Know What.
Well, you'll be back. I won't be.
Of course, Mr. X will not be with us. But Matthew Arter will be back, and I look forward to having him back because he's really, really a wonderful component to this show. So thank you so much again for tuning in. See you later, and bye-bye. And there you have it. That was TV Talkaholics Episode 9. Just as a reminder, TV Talkaholics is a monthly show that Matthew and I do separate from the Let's Face the Facts podcast, and you can have access to the whole library and future episodes by sponsoring the show at the $3 level on our Patreon. Those links, of course, are in the show notes and on our webpage. And that's it. Next week, we have another Betwixtisode coming up. As of this recording, I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's going to be a Betwixtisode because I think as of right now, as you are listening to this, I am currently on a cruise in Greece and Italy, Croatia, and Montenegro. So it's a pretty epic cruise that we planned before the pandemic, and say a prayer that right now I am actually on the cruise and not in some awful quarantine hotel because I caught COVID on the way over there. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this week's show, and remember, the facts of life are all about you.
Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by the wonderful David Almeida. Our theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Please visit FaceTheFactsPod.com for supplemental photos and videos, links to social media, and ways that you can support the show. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This is Matthew Arter saying tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.